So when you drain your oil, you're going to want your oil to be nice and thin, and the only way that you can make it as thin as possible to drain out the most as possible is to make it nice and warm. So what you're going to do is, first of all, before you do anything else, you're going to run your car for about 15 minutes until your oil temperature is showing as nice and warm, and then you'll know that it's going to be as least viscous as possible, so you'll be able to actually drain more out than if it was cold. So that's what we're going to do first. Once you've run it for about 15 minutes, you can get access to the sun plug, which in this case, you just turn this little lever, it's got a flat edge on it, pull that off, and you can either let it hang there or pull it off. And then from here, you just about probably see it, I've got a 17mm, and I just want to loosen that off, and then once it gets to the end, you want to be very careful to make sure that you don't let it go, because otherwise you'll be fishing it out of the bottom of boiling oil. So that's what we're going to do next. Try not to burn your hand because it's hot. We're just going to let that drain for the next probably about a good 5 minutes, because you have to let all of the little nooks and crannies within the engine fully drain. If you don't, you'll probably end up with quite a lot of old oil still in there. So you want to make sure that at this point the engine's nice and warm, so the oil's nice and warm, so it's as thin as possible, so it's lost as much viscosity as it can, and that you let it drain for as long as possible until it is literally just a very, very gentle drip. As you can see now, it's still actually dripping quite a lot. Don't be led by impatience to let that little bit tell you that it's done, because it will continue to do that for a good few more minutes. You want to literally be putting the plug back in when there's absolutely nothing coming out. Otherwise, really there's not much point doing a service. The whole point is that your engine will be completely cleared out of all the old crud. If you do it too early, you're wasting your time. So just have some patience, let it do its thing, and when it's ready, it'll be ready. We're just going to pop a plug back in, making sure to get it onto the threads nicely, and thread it with your fingers as far as you possibly can. Don't just let it go tight and think, oh, I'll just spanner that on. You'll cross-thread it. You want to be able to get it near enough all the way tight without even using a spanner. And you really don't need it very tight. So hold it tight. As soon as there's a little bit of resistance, that's enough. And that's nice and tight. That's all you need. Back on. Go back on. Slide around. 15 fingers are sticking out. Spin around. That holds that from falling. And that's your draining done. And that is the underside finished. In some cases you'll need to find a canister filter as well, and that'll involve getting a strap spanner or sometimes a large socket on the end of it and twisting it off. And all you would do is you'd take that off, let it drain from there, you would pour new oil into it just about halfway. You'd then screw it back on making sure that the rubber seal around the inside has a little bit of new or old oil on it, just to help with a little bit of making a good seal. And you don't do it up with anything ridiculous, you literally just nice and hand tight. And by hand tight I mean with your hands, not hand tight with tools. So on my BMW, the filter is located on the top, and instead of being a canister, it's just a filter element inside of a housing. So in this case you'd need to change the rubber ring, the O-ring, and the filter element itself. The actual housing stays there. Right, so in the case of quite a lot of people not having a strap spanner to take this off, there is one other option, and that is to get yourself a Jubilee clip. Wrap the Jubilee clip round, get that on nice and tight, and we will then pull from the Jubilee clip, which gives you a little bit of extra grip to take the cap off. Be careful, the engine will still be hot. Always wear gloves of some form when handling oil, as oil used and new is also a carcinogenic. So once that's on nice and tight, you can use it for some leverage. There you go. Loosen this back off. Spin it round to a good access point again. Flick from undo to do. Get it nice and tight again. And then take it off, take your ratchet off, and use the leverage. See? Use the leverage of that and the grip of the Jubilee clip to break the seal some more. And eventually, you'll have it round far enough that the seal will break nicely. In this case, we probably have to do one or two more. Remember, this might still have oil in it, so I'm going to take this out, shake it off nicely, and cover it. From there, pop the old one off, like that, and there will be an O-ring to change inside here. And then you put the new element back on, screw it back on. Once the new seal is back on inside here, a bit of a fiddly job, so it's quite difficult to film, but it's basically just pop a new seal on, new O-ring. This will go back on. It will only go back on in one side, one direction, normally, and you put it on until it pops, just slightly. Feel nicely solidly in. There we go. And that will screw back on. And it will normally tell you how tight to put it on the actual cap itself. If not, you use your owner's manual and that will tell you. In this case, it's 25 plus 5 Newton meters. So between 25 and 30 Newton meters. No more than 30, no less than 25. That's basically it. So that's locked on nice and tight. There's oil inside there to keep a nice seal. The rubber will be creating a nice seal with the oil on there. I'm going to just clean up this area. Then from there we just put in 6.5 litres of oil as per this engine. Other engines are slightly different. And then from there we are good to go. Cool.
zapach jest